How much could you get done in the next 6 months? Well, think about your most productive times in your life, what you're able to accomplish in 6 months. It's a big chunk of time. I know doctors who have literally worked for years to hit that 7-figure mark and have not hit it yet. In fact, only 1% of our profession have actually gotten there. But the top performers are in this community. This community is building 7 figures because we have the strategy. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you that if I lost everything in my practice and all I had left to start over again was my knowledge, my understanding, my strategies, I'm going to show you step by step exactly what I would do to get to 7 figures and beyond. Well, let's do this. Strategy number 1 is the most important because it's going to set the tone for you for your entire practice. But let me give you a little backstory on this. You see, I come from a chiropractic family. I was the son of a chiropractor, and again, not just any chiropractor, but H. Ronald Frogley, who was the executive vice president to David Palmer. So I grew up knowing that my dad could fix any health problem that I had. I had this mindset that chiropractic solved everything. But our skeptics would debate that, saying that if you're a construction worker and the problem's a nail, that every solution is the hammer. Well, luckily, chiropractic is one of the most powerful things ever given to mankind. And I'm so honored to be a chiropractor with you, helping unlock people's healing potential. But what we have found is that the general public doesn't think through that lens. They don't see that the nervous system is the master, organ of the entire body that drives healing for everything. So we have to reframe for patients how they see health. They think of it in terms of conditions. And I want to break this down for you, the difference between an expert and a general practitioner. It's a very fundamental principle, and it's used in the medical community that a surgeon versus a GP is very different in their expertise. They become an expert in a very single focused niche of that healthcare system. Well, we also found that their income is 300% more when you are perceived as an expert. So instead of trying to attract every patient out there for every condition like I did with my dad, I want you to get really laser focused on the one condition that you can become an expert at. In fact, we have found that the practices that are doing the biggest collection numbers are ones that have actually niched down to 1 to 3 specific conditions that they're attracting patients in to become the expert of. They're seen as an expert, and therefore their treatment plans are more money. They charge more because they do more for the complexity of the case. When they begin attracting those patients and become known as that expert, we dramatically see those collections skyrocket. And it's actually easier to focus and target your marketing on that because now we have one message. We have one path for these patients to come into your practice. Hey guys, I just want to thank you for watching this channel, for being a part of this community. In fact, we're building a community to support our professions so that we can elevate everybody's income and actually impact more patients long term. And that's what the data-driven community is all about. In fact, if you're ready to double your profits, if you're ready to double your practice, to build a data-driven team, then I'm going to show you exactly how you can take that next step with us at the end of this video. So stay tuned to the end. Step number 2 in this process, now that you've picked the expert that you want to become the condition of, we now have to create an irresistible offer. This is something that's so attractive to a patient who is suffering with this condition that they literally are begging to have that offer, to take advantage of it. Really, when we break down that offer, too much of our profession is literally hanging their hat on one thing, and that's the consultation. Now, the consultation is powerful and it is so valuable, but there's a difference, a mindset shift I've got to help you with. I was just working with some of our top doctors on this just the other day in a group coaching call talking about value versus price. When we were going through everything that was given in their offer, I was asking them, okay, what's the value of that? And they said, well, we don't charge for that. We just give it away. And I said, I get that you give it away, but what's the value of that? And this was a pretty valuable test that they were giving to a patient to determine their risk of falling. It was a balance test. Now, I asked them, I said, could you even go to a neurologist and have that test performed without them billing a code or charging the patient for that? And they're like, well, no. I said, how much do you think it would cost to even go through the neurologist exam? And they're like, yeah, like $500 plus. I'm like, yeah, and that's without diagnostic testing. So when we come back to your offer, I want you to list every single thing that that patient will receive in the offer, and across the line from that, you need to put a number. Not what the insurance companies are going to discount it to, or maybe they don't even pay for that at all. I want you to put the value of that, the retail value that the patient is experiencing. That value could be $50, $100, $300, depending on the item that you have listed in your offer. The better the offer, the bigger the value, the more things that they're getting in that. To increase the value of your offer, remember that you can include in here knowledge-based value. That means that they're getting something when they come through this offer. When they go through the experience of the consultation, they're also getting, and this could be ability to come to a class, to a webinar, and understanding. This could be your patient education that you're giving to every patient, but rarely do you acknowledge the value of that information. You have got to put a value to that. You've got to show a patient that when they come through this experience, the value that they're going to get, the clear path that they're going to get, the understanding that they're going to get. That confidence to a patient who is suffering and pain is dying for that information. They see how valuable it is, and they are willing to exchange for that. And I love offers, irresistible offers that are, somewhere in the $300 to $500 range that they're going to get from your practice for $29, $39, $49. The power of that offer will help you qualify your patient in coming into your practice. Because if they're willing to pay a little bit for that, we have found that it dramatically increases the conversion, and that's what we're trying to impact here. Make sure that you're only sitting in front of qualified patients who truly want to be there, and we're not having a no-show rate because they didn't pay anything for it. So there's no risk, there's no consequence for them missing that appointment, and you now have an opportunity by your offer doing some of the heavy lifting for you to reduce your no-shows, reduce your open time where you're now sitting around that could be producing. We need to get you in front of qualified people, and an offer, a really good offer, will do that for you. Will qualify and convert. Your conversion metrics will skyrocket. So before I go to step number 3, I just want to remind you that at the end of this video, I'm going to share with you a way that we can work together for free to help you work through your offers. But you got to stay to the end to hear how you can take advantage of that. Now, step number 3 is such an important one because your practice probably has a math problem. And this is, I remember going through school thinking, am I going to need math when I become a doctor? Why do I need math to be a chiropractor? But I have now fallen in love with math because running a practice is all about the numbers. And after working with thousands of practices, I see so many math problems. And the math problem is your new patient acquisition costs compared to your average care plan value. If you're an insurance-based practice, too many of you are so dependent on what the insurance will pay you for a visit that I see so many cases, meaning a patient comes in, they may or may not get a care plan. They just may be going from visit to visit. But on average, that patient only spends between their copays and the insurance reimbursement like $800. Well, if you're acquiring a new patient for $120 or even $80, that math doesn't work out too well. And you've got to acquire a lot of those patients to build this 7-figure practice, and I don't want you to work that hard. My whole world changed when I shifted from symptomatology-based care to functional-based care. I had the privilege of working with some of our top doctors in our community and teaching techniques that were restoring structure, focused on not just removing the subluxation, but treating the soft tissue around the spine, rehabilitating the muscles to strengthen and stabilize the structure. And by restoring structure, we restored function. And when patients understood that they were coming through our care plans, not just to get rid of the pain, like that had to happen, but we were going to push them. We were going to challenge the tissue. We were going to work with them with expert movements to move them into functional high levels so that they weren't necessarily focused on just the symptoms. They were now focused on how do I optimize my function to stay healthy long term. I want to stay out of pain forever. I want to be able to return my life to high activity, and that's what the care plans did. So when we presented a care plan, it wasn't just 8 visits or 12 visits on what their insurance would cover. We showed them what their insurance would cover, but then we moved them into phases of care that were now out of pocket because health insurance, as we know, is crisis insurance. It's not healthcare insurance. And because the patient saw the value, it aligned with their health goals, they were willing to commit to those care plans. And it changed everything. Our care plans were capped by insurance at $800. They were $3,000, $5,000, $10,000 and more. Now, we didn't offer care that wasn't necessary. It was diagnostic. It was proven in the research articles. It was all case studies. It was scientifically based on the time frames that those tissues need to heal. So when I talk about that average care plan value, this goes back to the math. If I can acquire a new patient coming into the practice for, $120, their value, their average care plan value better be into the thousands so that the math works. So here's an example of some bad math. Now, if I'm getting 50 leads in the practice, and those leads are primarily coming from Facebook ads. So potential patients are clicking. As we know, Facebook autofills, so a lot of times their information gets submitted and they didn't mean to submit. And so we're seeing like a 50% show rate if we can get them from a lead to a scheduled new patient appointment. Well, that means we just took our 50 leads down to 25 scheduled new patients. And what we're seeing in that data is about a 50% show rate for those patients because it's a low offer. There's not any commitment. It was free. There's no risk, on this. So 50% show rate. So now we're down to 13 completed exams out of those 50 leads. Well, if your average care plan value, let's just, give a better than average care plan value, but $1,200. Let's say you're getting a 70% start rate or a close rate with those patients. Well, out of those 13 exams, you're only going to generate just under $11,000, $10,920 at those numbers. Guys, that's bad math. I mean, that's a lot of work for 50 leads to only generate just under $11,000. It's going to be hard to hit those 7 figures. It's going to be hard to incentivize your team. It's going to be hard to build the team of A players that you need to build your incredible organization. So let me now give you an example of good math and how this plays out. Let's take those same 50 leads and have a much better qualification process in place. And we're actually scheduling 80% of those leads. So we get 40 that now book new patient appointments. And because we put them through better process, they actually have a 90% show rate, which is where it should be. That now gives us 36 completed exams. If we have an average care plan value of $4,200 and we close them at the same 70%, we now just generated $105,840 a month with the same 50 leads. That is how you generate 6-figure months. That is how you build a 7-figure practice. Now, if you're into this math thing, if you're ready to fix your broken math, then you need to come join what we call our Turn Your Data into Dollars Challenge. It's a free challenge where you get to work with me for free. We will literally break down your practice. We'll look at your offers. We'll show you how to attract better qualified patients. And we'll really put in place those conversion metrics to show you and your team how to monitor and measure those and actually how to convert. what's the better process we can put into place for your practice to fix your math and turn your practice into the dream practice, to build your revenues into revenues that can reward your team, build your dream life, and literally change your patient outcomes. Click the link below. I can't wait till you join us on our next challenge. It is life-changing. I will see you in the challenge.